But just to quickly take you up on that before we go on a break to catch our breath, why do you think the president should begin or support the monetary authority at this time with regards to devaluing the naira? The CBN has already said devaluation of the naira it's not in its book at this time because of its effect, the effect it's going to have on the economy. The president has supported that move, and you from the private sector feels that at this time that's what the country or the monetary authority should be considering.
You see, that is why I said there is need for a broader consultation, even by the president. I see this perhaps as an issue of personal conviction of the president. But I keep saying the president is not an economist. So there is need for proper consultation by economists, by key stakeholders in the economy before such statements can be made. You make such statements, you put it in context.
But Mr. Yusuf, I'm not holding brief for the president or even CBN right now, but in line with market forces and what we see playing out, at least for other African countries that have had to go in that direction, it's not really a pretty picture when you begin to devalue. Don't forget that Nigeria is practically an import-based economy. So if you begin to think about devaluing the naira or talking about devaluing the naira at this time, in whose interest is it going to be? It's not going to be in the interest of Nigerians as in, domestically. It's mostly going to be beneficial for probably foreign investors.
No, that's not correct. I don't agree with you. You see, what we are doing now has done more damage to the economy than allowing the currency to adjust. It has created a major crisis in the foreign exchange market. We are talking of rationing foreign exchange. Look at the kind of signals we are getting even internationally. It has affected confidence. It has created more problems of speculation and volatility in the foreign exchange market. Whose interest is that serving? A depreciation of the currency will not do as much damage as the administrative allocation of foreign exchange. Look at what is happening to all the key economic indicators. Look at the GDP. Look at what is happening in the stock market. Look at what is happening to investment. Look at what is happening to inflow of even FDI, inflow of even into the autonomous market. All these things have been adversely affected. It's not a model that is sustainable. That is why I'm saying that there is need for broader consultation beyond the CBN and the president. We have economists in this country, even in the APC. They have very sound policy commission. They had the transition committee that was set up. Where are their reports?
So we're focusing on home matters now. Governor Akinwumi Amode's economic and policy team. Let's talk about the tasks ahead, first of all, and then also look at the names that have been submitted to the House. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, the good thing about Lagos is that even during the elections, the slogan here was continuity, while the slogan at the center was change. So essentially, the path has been clearly mapped out for Governor Ambode. It's a question of continuing the good work that the former Governor Fashola had done. So it's no surprise that at least 6 out of the nominees were members of the former cabinet. So it's about continuing what has been done. And looking at the composition of the cabinet, although some of them are not quite known, but that does not matter because you don't know people until you give them an opportunity to perform. But I can see that quite a number of technocrats, quite a number of them are also young, because in this job, you also need a lot of physical energy to perform, and for a long time, Lagos State has been known or reputed for appointing quality people, technocrats, although with sprinkles of politicians in between to make sure that things are done properly. So for me, I think it's a nice step, although maybe he was also taking a cue from the president for him to delay the appointment of commissioners up till this time. But it's a question of continuity, really.
And in terms of continuity, are you also expecting to see this new cabinet begin to leverage on previous policies from Fashola's, administration?
That is what I expect. And I expect them to begin to deal with, the critical issues in some critical sectors.
For instance?
For instance, transportation. Transportation is key because we are in a state that has the highest population, over 20 million people, and has the smallest landmass. So that tells you a lot about the density of the population in Lagos. And in a way, Lagos belongs to everybody, although it belongs to somebody. It's a cosmopolitan city, and there are all sorts of pressures on Lagos. And you need good transportation to facilitate logistics. This is the commercial capital of this country. And talking about transportation, there are quite a number of components that there should be serious focus on. There's a component of traffic management. There's a component of the road capacity.
Security as well.
Yes, no, I'm even talking about transportation now. The road capacity, the traffic management, the issues of mass transit, and the development of other modes of transportation. These 4 areas are areas that we need to quickly develop. The past administration has done quite some work on it, but we need to accelerate more on it. I mean, look at the Lekki corridor, for instance. A major crisis is emerging in that corridor from traffic. Because the population is growing there, investments are springing up, housing estates are springing up, we have the free zone there, we have the proposed airport there, and it's only a single road to that place. Traffic in and out of that corridor now is a major nightmare. So we need to begin to look at all these issues, and even in all of this, I expect that the federal government also needs to support the Lagos State government. This is the commercial capital of this country. The government gets a lot of revenue from here. Close to 50% of the customs revenue that the federal government gets is from the Lagos ports.
Let's talk a little bit about those revenue issues, especially for Lagos business. Talking about tax.
Yes.
Taxes, I know that private business owners, especially members of LCCI, have continuously complained about multiple taxations.
Yes.
What are the issues?
Well, I will come to that because I need to stress this point.
Well,
because
Mr. Yusuf,
yes.
we will have another time for us to talk about this, but just so that we can get all these issues out in the little space that we have.
Okay, coming back to taxation, there are issues about multiple taxation, especially between the local governments and the state governments. The state government tax, purview is quite clear, but the challenges that many businesses face has to do more with the local governments and sometimes with some of these institutions. Businesses pay a lot of tax. They pay company tax, which goes to the federal, although you don't want me to go to that. They pay VAT, which goes to the federal. They pay education tax, which goes to the federal. So the only thing that the state gets is the payee and maybe the land use charge. But for the local government, they come up with all sorts of taxes. And sometimes they set the taxes at a level that you begin to negotiate with them.
But the past administration actually looked into this, because this isn't the first time that organized private sector is actually complaining about multiple taxation.
Yes, they have looked into it. The situation is not as bad as it was. In fact, there had been a list of what taxes can be collected by the local government, by the state government, and there has been a lot of engagement between the private sector and the Lagos State government on this. So we have made some progress on that, but we are not yet there. Because the local government officials still come up with all sorts of issues. Sometimes they just come in and say, okay, tax for this, tax for that, and they come up with bills that are outrageous. And sometimes begin to compel people to begin to negotiate with them.
Well, Mr. Yusuf, we're clearly out of time, but your last words, as we start a new week from the holiday, from this rather long weekend, we've got 3 more days for this month to end, and then October, a new quarter starts, what's your advice in terms of agenda setting for this new economic policy team?
Well, the agenda is to look quickly at the policies that we have on ground, to ensure that there is proper engagement of the right people, the technocrats, and the stakeholders. Because this is a democracy, and as much engagement as we can do will enrich our economic policy. So the players will engage with stakeholders and ensure that we have the right input into our policy-making process. That is what I would say. Yeah.
And definitely the Lagos State government will be counting on the support of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry to get this right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Muda Yusuf, for joining me on the program this morning and sharing your perspectives with us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Muda Yusuf is the Director General of Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, joined me on the program to share his perspectives on the formation of the federal and state cabinets. Of course, in the coming days, a lot of investors, both domestic and international, as well as all Nigerians, will be looking forward to that happening. But that's the show for today. Many thanks for spending time with us. I'm Harriet Agbinyi. Have a great weekend.